In this video, I'll be talking about what would happen if Logan Paul beat KSI and Logan v KSI 2, but I'm only going to be talking about how this affects Logan Paul. The end of the story is so unexpected, so you want to watch until the end. I already made 2 other videos about how this affects KSI and Jake Paul, so if you want to watch those, I'll leave a link below. Also, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed, so if you like this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you could always change your mind. Enjoy the video. Logan Paul finally did it. His biggest rival on YouTube and social media as a whole has finally been put in place and lost in the sport that he helped bring back to life. Logan Paul beat KSI. Logan was dancing, partying, and screaming for hours and hours on end after the fight was over. Literally nothing could make him frown. He was so happy and proud of what he was able to accomplish. For a few months, however, he decided to take a break from boxing and quite literally everything as a whole. He didn't make YouTube videos, just recorded the impulsive podcast which he enjoys doing, and occasionally he would train with his brother Jake to prepare him for his fight against KSI. And if that part didn't make sense to you, watch the video here to understand why Jake Paul and KSI are fighting. But yeah, Logan was taking a break as a reward for his hard work in boxing. However, there is one problem. In the original timeline, Logan said that in the end, the loss was good for him because it taught him how to be humble and accept the fact that talent only succeeds when talent works hard. He was a very down-to-earth person because of this fight. But in this new timeline, he was very arrogant and egotistical. The win clearly got to his head, and he strongly believed that he could take on anyone who steps with him in the ring. But not only that, his personality created a toxic environment. On the podcast, he would make an effort to try to talk about himself and what he has achieved. He would always chat up to other women whenever he gets the chance to flex his accomplishments, and he would always show off his assets and riches because he wants to. His friend Mike told him that he needs to ground himself now. This win clearly did more bad than good. Showing off your wealth doesn't make you a good boxer. You're turning into 2017 Logan Paul again. Logan took a lot of offense to that, and he tried to clap back and tell him that wasn't the case, but Mike made it abundantly clear that it was, by making him watch videos of things that he said on the podcast and getting opinions from others. The win was making him feel like a god when he isn't. So Mike challenged him. He brought up the fact that Logan believes that he could take on a professional fighter. If he thinks he could do that, then go for it. Logan decided to take on that challenge and prove that the KSI victory wasn't a fluke, but a true demonstration of skill. So in this universe, unlike his brother, he did not fight non-boxers or fighters. He decided to go straight into professional fights after fighting an influencer. However, there was one problem. Logan couldn't find a pro boxer with the same level of skill he has and has the ability to bring in attention. KSI was able to do that, but no other pro boxer can bring attention to a fight. So the struggle of finding an opponent was bothering him. He kept telling himself that if it was a UFC fighter, it would be so much easier. But the fact that it has to be a boxer, it makes it a lot more difficult. After a week, however, Logan got his blessing in disguise, as someone who is notorious and talented gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. And that someone was Tyson Fury. Tyson was asked in an interview about his thoughts on the KSI vs Logan Paul 2 fight, and Tyson responded by saying that he wasn't surprised. He knew Logan was going to win simply from his athletic body, and that he is happy for him, and it's time to level up. He believes that a good opponent would be his brother Tommy Fury. He believes that he could take on Logan Paul and potentially beat him. Tommy saw this interview and took to Instagram to address what Tyson said and try to make this fight happen. Logan Paul's social media began to blow up as a result of these comments and call-outs being made. Logan realized that this can be his moment to truly shine in the boxing world, and he did the same thing and went to social media to clown Tommy and try to make this fight happen. Also note that around this time, Tommy is a 3-0 fighter. He's been fighting people with poor boxing records as well. Anyways, after the calls have been made, both teams from Tommy and Logan's side talked about how the fight would go down. There was some conflict in regards to the location. Logan wanted it in America, whereas for Tommy, he wanted it in the UK. However, both sides knew that a fight of this magnitude needed to take place in America in order to maximize pay-per-views. So as a result, they both settled to have this fight take place in America, specifically Miami, Florida. Additionally, the fight was going to be 10 rounds of 3 minutes of boxing. And with that being said, after the announcement has been made, social media riled up and was extremely excited to see this fight go down. Logan is finally taking his skills to the true professional level against an actual Fury of all people. This fight was truly going to be massive. However, there's this one question we need the answer to. Everything, the fight, the announcement, it's done, but who's going to be training Logan? In the original timeline, Logan dropped Briggs as his trainer and moved on to Milton LaCroix. This would again be present in this timeline, but the only difference is that Briggs dropped Logan as his trainee. Reason being is because he had such a bad time training Jake vs KSI fight that he wants nothing to do with the Paul brothers anymore. If that didn't make sense, watch this video so you understand why Jake and Briggs have beef. Anyways, Logan needed to find a new trainer, and similarly to the original timeline, he landed on Milton. Now everything is set in terms of training for Logan Paul. However, there's one problem. Logan was feeling confident that he is still the same boxer he was a few months ago, and he decided to have a sparring match once every single day for 5 5 days straight. And not only did he lose to his sparring partners, he lost badly. He would get knocked down to the ground, hit in the stomach, and not be able to predict what his partner was going to do. This made Logan worry and stress over his boxing ability. What happened to his skills? Did he really forget how to box that quickly? He thought he would be able to learn from his mistakes after every loss, but it seemed like he was moving backwards as opposed to moving forward. Milton decided to talk to him in private about how he was feeling about Logan's boxing ability, and he was being extremely blunt. He told him that out of all the boxers he has trained, Logan, you're probably the worst one. You fought a YouTuber, not a true boxer, and that is not a true test of skill. You're not a boxer. It's your choice whether or not you want to prove me wrong. Never has Logan ever been put down like that. He understands that he is not a boxer yet, and the opponent he faced previously wasn't a boxer either. Tommy is probably training so hard right now and knocking down every sparring partner that gets in his way, but Logan has one advantage that Tommy doesn't have, and that's the opportunity to learn and not having yes men. Tommy has a cheerleading squad around him, whereas Logan has people to put him in his place. Logan understood the assignment. In his next sparring session, he stayed focused and was able to knock down his sparring partner. He finally got some validation and self-belief that he could beat Tommy, but he still wasn't satisfied. He looked dead into Milton's eyes after the spar and told him to next time give him someone harder. Try to make me lose. Milton looked at him and smirked, and from that moment on, training Logan Paul took a new turn. Constantly, every single day, there would be some sort of training to make sure that he is the best he possibly can be for this fight. He had to put himself through adversity every single time to make sure he gets better, and that's what he wanted the most. Adversity, 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 and that is the only way he could be the greatest in the world. A few weeks went by and it was officially time for the fight. Miami was filled with influencers and fans, and millions were watching all over the world online. Logan didn't feel nervous. He felt ready and prepared, and that everything that he has gone through was going to pay off tonight. Logan walked down the aisle with his team and brother, and his song of choice was We Are the Champions by Queen. The crowd was mostly filled with boos, with the only cheers coming from a few fans and Logan's friends. But Logan didn't let that affect him in a negative way, but instead took that energy and was prepared to prove everyone wrong. Tommy Fury was next, and he walked out to I'm Back from Stormzy. The crowd erupted with cheers. They clearly welcomed Tommy with open arms and made Tommy really happy and excited to be able to perform in front of the Americans for the very first time. Both men got into the ring. The ref explained the rules and asked them to touch gloves. Tommy put his hands out, but Logan refused to touch gloves. They ran back to their corners and everyone left. A few seconds later, the fight has commenced. 10 rounds of 3 minutes of boxing has officially begun. For the first half, it was way too close to call. The fighters were practically on par with each other when it came to skill. Logan would throw a punch, Tommy would do the same. Logan would dodge, Tommy would do the same. Logan every now and then would clown him in the ring and try to be a showman for the fans, but that didn't affect Tommy, and he continued to strike, counter, and dodge his way through the rounds. After the 4th round, everyone was confused in regards to who was currently winning. It all seemed extremely even. However, something bad happened to Logan after the 4th round. When he went to his corner, he was breathing heavily and was constantly asking for more water. It was evident that he was tired. Tommy, on the other hand, took one huge deep breath, got one serving of water, and listened to his coach. Milton worried that this may be the end for Logan in this fight, but he asked him again, "Are you ready to fight?" Logan screamed at him and telling him that yes, he is ready to fight. Milton listened to him and allowed him to go back into the ring, and this is where the fight favored one person. Tommy noticed Logan was tired. His punches were sloppy, his guard was down, and he was constantly breathing heavy. Tommy smiled because he knew that he could capitalize on this. As a result, Tommy went for Logan Paul like an animal. He threw so many punches and majority of them connected. Every time Logan tried to clinch, Tommy would get out of the clinch with an uppercut and continue to strike the body for a few more times. Tommy's goal was to try to get Logan in a corner and go ballistic, but he failed to do that this round as it ended too soon for Tommy to do anything. Logan went back to his corner, tired and hurt. Milton told him that he has to stop. He can't do this anymore or he'll get hurt. Logan already had a black eye and a bloody nose, but he still didn't want to lose. He kept telling himself, adversity. This is what I signed up for, and I know how to defeat adversity. Milton sighed and let him go fight again in the 6th round. Tommy was still cool, calm, and collected and was surprised that Logan was still ready to fight. Tommy gave him some respect by nodding to him, but he knew that this would be the round to end it all. Right when the bell rang, Tommy went for it. He threw unpredictable punches at Logan, and he finally got Logan into a corner. Tommy now just had to let his hands fly. Body shot, headshot, uppercut, dodge, over and over again. Logan was receiving punishment from Tommy like no tomorrow. Milton was watching this, and time slowed down for him. He needed to make a decision quickly because the ref wasn't going to stop this fight quick enough, so he decided the last thing that he wanted to do. He grabbed the towel, went to the ref, and threw it in front of the ref's face, and immediately stopped the fight. Tommy Fury is victorious and officially defeated Logan Paul. Logan was winded, tired, dropped to the floor immediately, and sat against the corner of the ring. He was beaten up and had a face full of blood. He saw Milton walk to him and noticed the towel on the floor. He looked at Milton with disappointment and asked him why he would do that. Milton said it's because it's what you needed, adversity. Logan nodded his head and he understood what he said. He accepted the fact that he lost. lost, and even though he went through a lot, there's still so much he can learn from the sport. The best boxers in history aren't the ones who are undefeated. They are the ones who find a way to excel after a loss. In the end, Logan has accepted the loss, gave props to the better man, and moved on to the next challenge. He's humble and grateful for everything that he has learned along the way, and that is where the story ends. If you made it this far, you owe it to yourself to subscribe. Please hit it if you haven't yet. This trilogy was really fun and interesting to make, and I'm glad that a lot of you guys enjoyed it. Future What Ifs likely won't have a trilogy, but since this event was so impactful, I felt like I needed to make multiple videos to address certain perspectives. But if you have any ideas for the future, leave a comment down below. It doesn't have to be boxing related. It could be anything in the social media space. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.